What is going on, everybody? WeedleTwineedle here, and we are backing in with an Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Wi-Fi battle, and this one's going to be a P-Wi-Fi battle against Vincent, a person I battle off my Discord server. And if you guys are interested in joining my Discord server, it's a place where you can find battles with other people and chit-chat and meme around. And if you are interested in my Discord server, a link will be in the description. It's free to join, so you don't have to subscribe to me on Twitch or via Patreon or anything like that. Now, Shaniqua, as you can see, is packing the triple crab core, and I actually did this unintentionally, but part of me thinks I did it intentionally, like, subconsciously, like I didn't realize it. And I'm also using some pretty cool Pokemon as well, such as Dual Screen, Chimecho, Defensive Magcargo, and First Impression Farfetch'd, which a few guys have been suggesting for me to use for some odd reason, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to breed a First Impression Farfetch'd with, not big deal, can have my Golisopod breed with this Farfetch'd, and I tried for like 20 minutes to no avail, because I guess Golisopod and Farfetch'd are somehow incompatible. So I'm like, oh, you would think that, you just breed your Farfetch'd with Golisopod and you'll be all good to go, but no, they are incompatible. So I spent like 20 minutes trying to get an egg, and I finally realized, now I'm like, wait a minute, they're not compatible. And so you gotta actually sketch First Impression with a Smeargle, so then you have to go into a double battle, get First Impression, and then it's just like literally the most complicated thing ever. And I'm just like, oh, I thought you just, bred it with the Pokemon that got it as its, signature move, but I guess not. And so I got like memed, and I spent like over an hour of game time trying to get a First Impression Farfetch'd, and I felt pretty dumb. If I'd have did the research beforehand, I could have avoided all that, but whatever, not a big deal. So on the first few turns, I set up my dual screens as Mesper gets up rocks, and then I defog away the Stealth Rocks, and yeah, Chimecho for some reason gets defog. I'm not too sure how it even uses defog, but we're not going to question that. I felt like I had to explain how to get First Impression Farfetch'd because goddamn, this story was worth sharing. It took me so long to get one, but hey, here we are. I'm finally using it. So my opponent makes a pretty big mistake going for Parting Shot. I mean, I knew he was expecting me to switch out, but unfortunately for my opponent, I mean, he's going to give me a double Defiant, so I'm actually at +3 attack because he dropped my attack one time. So now Farfetch'd is at +3 attack, so now it's about as threatening as a regular Pokemon. Woohoo! Now my opponent's going to bring a Prehistoric, the Archeops, and I know First Impression's not going to kill this thing as badly as I want to go for it. I know it's not going to work out, so I am Focus Sash Farfetch'd because my Farfetch'd does have a pretty cool move to utilize with, Defiant and Sword Stance. I do have the Flail, and Flail at +3 attack is actually able to one-shot Archeops, which is beautiful. Down goes the Archeops, thankfully, and now my opponent's going to bring in the Construction, the Girder, and as badly as I want to stay in here and go for Acrobatics, I know it's not going to work out for me because he has the Mach Punch, so I'm going to pull a switch into my Infernal Gary here, my Magcargo, as I can, easily tank a Mach Punch with the Reflect Up and go from there. Maybe I can get Flame Body, which wouldn't really be good for me because I'm going to be giving Girder, a burn, but at least we get some chip damage on it each turn. But this Girder is actually a really big threat because my Chimecho doesn't even have Psychic. It's actually dual screens with Healing Wish and Defog. So yeah, there's no offensive moves on it. It just completely supports that because I found out Chimecho got Defog and I couldn't resist myself. So now we're actually able to get the Toxic off. Thankfully, he does not give himself Flame Body after attacking me twice, which is pretty useful, as now we're able to hit up the Girder with the Toxic. We still give him the Guts ability, but I mean, Toxic Poison is really useful to have on it as it makes it a lot easier to deal with. And now my opponent's going to hit me with a Guts boosted Drain Punch, but I'm sure I can live thanks to the Reflect, and I am max defense, max hit points Magcargo. By the way, I also got this Magcargo through the Ultra Wormhole method because you can get shiny so easily through that method, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know. So this is a legit shiny Magcargo, and it actually had a decent nature. It had like a sassy nature, which I forgot that's increased defense or special defense. But either way, I give this thing a max defense, max hit points because there's no other way to really EV train Magcargo unless you use like a Shell Smash set with weak armor. But unfortunately, you can't get weak armor or hidden abilities through the wormhole. Unfortunately, you should have made it so you could. That would make a lot of sense, and that make it so you can get a lot of easy hidden ability legendaries. But alas, missed opportunity for sure. Now I'm going to bring in my Chimecho expecting Drain Punch. My opponent brings in his Lantern to Heal Bell away the Toxic, which is really unfortunate for me, but at the very least we're able to remove the Guts, so it's not all that bad, but it's still pretty bad. But now we get an opportunity to reapply the screens because Lantern really can't do anything remotely damaging to Chimecho. Like, yeah, he can poison me, but it's not really going to immediately kill me, as I'm able to reapply the dual screens. And I mean, I think this Chimecho set's pretty solid. Maybe run Recover over Defog or Healing Wish, but otherwise, like, I feel like the set's okay. Like, it's not the best, but it's just mainly a support set. And Ring Your Neck is a pretty funny name considering it has no damaging moves, so I found that pretty funny. Now I'm going to bring my Parasleep, my Parasect, obviously, is my opponent's gonna go for Volt Switch. I thought he'd go for Scald there, but I guess he's just trying to get on out, and now he's gonna Volt Switch out and bring in his Arceus stats, the Savali. I forgot to mention that. That's a pretty cool Verlos meme you got there, buddy. I can respect that. Now, I'm gonna switch out my Parasleep because I don't want to take like Thunder Wave or Flamethrower or whatever Savali has in its move pool to hit me. So I'm gonna bring in my Crabominable, as I think I could take whatever hit he wants to go for, which I can. Flamethrower, I'm able to stomach that thanks to my AV, but he burns me, and I'm like, what? People have been getting so many 10% chance hacks against me lately that it's just been screwing me over. It's just so annoying. Like, make it stop. But now, obviously, Crabominable can't stay in, because if I stay in and he gets the parting shot off, he's going to be able to bring in his Girder for free and then get back to full health, and it'd be really bad for me. So I'm forced to bring a Penny Pincher here at my Kingler, as I do have the Sheer Force Liquidation to smack my opponent, as now my opponent is going to parting shot out to Flower Power the Lilligant, which is actually pretty threatening, but I do have the Hidden Tech First Impression Farfetch'd to hit it, so if it gets a little bit out of hand, it's not that bad. But now, gonna bring Predominate, which actually kind of works out for me that he burned me, because now he can't put me to sleep, so we can actually switch into Lilligant just fine. And since we are Assault Vested, we should be able to tank an attack from this thing. But unfortunately, you know, we are burned, so it's going to reduce our damage output. But we should still be able to easily live the attack because we are Assault Vested, and we have a lot of HP and Sudap investment actually. I put a lot of thought in this Crabominable set, as the Hidden Power Fire does nothing. It does 0 because of the light screen I think is still up, and just my Assault Vest. So yeah, Icy Hammer, even with the burn, you know, almost knocks him up, but he lives with like 5 hit points, and I'm just like, wow, that sucks. But I mean, hey, at least it's in range for First Impression Farfetch'd, so like, can I really complain? Not really. But now my opponent's gonna hit me up with another Giga Drain, as we're able to live it, thankfully. I don't know why I went for Giga Drain there instead of HP Fire, but I guess either way they wouldn't have knocked me out, so I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I'm gonna go for Power Up Punch here because it will knock out Flower Power from that range of health, as we're able to get an attack boost, which doesn't really matter because we are burned and are very low health. So me Power Up Punching there isn't really helpful, but hey, you know, at least we're able to show we have Power Up Punch. And now our Reflect is going to wear off, as my opponent's going to bring in the Emotional, the Mesprit. So I want to preserve my Crabominable, as I did say my Chimecho does have Healing, which is power. So now I'm going to bring in Ring Your Neck immediately, expecting Ice Beam or Psychic or anything to hit me, as thankfully we're able to switch into Psychic. We're able to tank it very, very well because we got Chimecho. We are max split F, max hit points, so we can just take any hit Mesprit wants to go for. As now my opponent's going to switch out because he really can't touch my Chimecho, and now my opponent's going to bring in Lightbringer, probably expecting like Toxic or something, but I'm going to set up Light Screen, just going to set up my dual screens because I have no reason not to, because like Mesprit really can't touch me unless it's like physical with like choice banded U-turn, but we already saw you with Stealth, Rocks, and Psychic, so I don't have to worry about that kind of nonsense. Though I have seen like physical Assault Vest Mesprit before. It was only on Showdown, so I mean, that's something, but I have seen physical Mesprit before in 2017. I mean, it's very rare, but it exists for some reason. But yeah, Poison's almost able to knock out my Chimecho, as now my opponent's going to go for Volt Switch, hoping we can live it, as thankfully we're able to live because Lantern is piss weak when it doesn't have investment. And now my opponent is going to bring in the Arceus stats here, which is pretty annoying for me to deal with, but I do have Healing Wish. You guys know the meme by now. My opponent was not ready for Healing Wish's powers, and in this instance I can confidently say that because now I'm able to bring Predominate, and you know that burn he got on me and the free whittle he got on my Crabominable. Unfortunately, all of that is all gone because of Healing Wish's powers, and with dual screens, he really can't touch my Crabominable, like unless he has like a way to hit me with Mesprit really hard. I don't see him being able to deal with his Crabominable, so my opponent's going to decide to go for Parting Shot. I don't know what his last move is. He has Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Parting Shot, and potentially like defog or like a status move. I'm not too sure, or it could be like another offensive move, who knows. My opponent's going to bring in the Emotional yet again, as I'm just going to go for Icy Hammer. I mean, I'm not burned anymore, so the Parting Shot doesn't really matter. We do get a crit, unfortunately, from my opponent. I didn't actually see that in the game. I thought that I just did that much damage, but that does make a lot of sense. I crit him there, which is unfortunate for my opponent, but what can I do? Now I'm going to bring in Leak Strats here as Death Fodder, as my opponent ends up carrying the Z move on the Mesprit, so I'm very glad I switched out. I was going to stay in here and just face tank the Psychic because I was Assault Vested with dual screens, but I'm very glad I decided to play it safe and sack off my Farfetch'd. So the First Impression Farfetch'd I worked so hard on getting, unfortunately wasn't able to use First Impression in this game. I could have used it against the Lilligant or the Mesprit, so there was potential for me to use it, but I didn't really get the chance to bring in Farfetch'd, unfortunately, so I'm sorry to let you down, the person or few people who suggested me to use First Impression Farfetch'd, but God bless. That's that. I don't know why does it even get first impression? Like, what does it gain from running it? Like, I don't get it. But of course, I have weakness policy on this team. You guys thought that I didn't have a weakness policy. I have weakness policy, parasect with agility. Now, agility gives it like no speed, so I'm just barely able to outspeed this mess, but I'm pretty sure, even though I'm jolly max speed. I'm gonna go for Fell Stinger because we have Fell Stinger on this parasect. And yeah, we're able to get a +3 attack with the Fell Stinger with weakness policy, so we have +5 attack, which is very, very nice. And now my opponent's gonna bring in the RCS stats, and I'm hoping with agility we're able to outspeed timid max speed Savali, as thankfully we're able to. I would be really upset if we couldn't outspeed it. And Seed Bomb should be able to knock him out with +5, as we're able to knock out the Savali, thankfully. And my opponent's last is the Lantern, I do believe. No, it's not. My bad. My bad, guys. It's he actually has 2 months left. He's gonna bring in his construction, but Seed Bomb is going to toss this thing away. Just goodbye, Girder. Wow, this parasite, epic parasite speed. You'll never see this outside of a video for mine. I mean, unless Pimp Knight makes a video like this, but like, let's be real. Pimp Knight probably won't do it because it's not a new Pokemon, so we can't get the clickbait. So Fell Stinger is not gonna knock out the Lightbringer. I was just seeing if we could knock him out because I know that the Lantern doesn't have a way to hit me because we saw Volt Switch. I don't know if we saw Scald, but we're just gonna assume he has Scald over Ice Beam because it's not really a move on defensive Lantern run. I mean, I have seen it like on Assault Vested sets, but like I haven't seen it on defensive Lantern with Heal Bell and stuff, so I felt safe doing that. And plus at this point, this game's over. I'm at +5 attack, and I have other mons in the back such as Abominable Kingler to deal with this Lantern, and we're able to win with the Parasect. So the triple Crab Core, none of them even died, which is pretty impressive considering I used Parasect and like Crabominable like had a miraculous revival, and unfortunately we couldn't even use Sheer Force Kingler. Like Crabominable and Parasect completely outshined our boy Kingler. Unfortunately, they took the spotlight off the Sheer Force Kingler hype train, but I'm sure there's already so much content about Kingler on YouTube. I highly doubt you'll find a weakness policy Parasect or Assault Vest Crabominable set on YouTube outside of my channel, of course. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Wi-Fi battle. If you guys enjoyed the Wi-Fi battle and want to express your gratitude towards my uploads, it'd mean a lot to me if you hit the like button, as it keeps me motivated to put out this Pokemon content for you guys, and it's always appreciated. And yeah, the question of the day is going to be, which crab Pokemon is your favorite? It doesn't matter if they're the best competitive Pokemon in the world or if they're the worst. We can just leave competitive viability out of this question. Just which crab Pokemon is your favorite based on design and typing alone? Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite crab Pokemon is. Plain and simple. My favorite crab Pokemon, even though like technically I think it's a lobster, is a Klotzer. I don't know what it is about Klotzer, but its ability, Mega Launcher, is honestly really, really cool. And I didn't know Mega Blastoise existed, so I thought like its ability was so unique and awesome when I found it in X and Y, and I used it in my first playthrough, and it's just one of my favorite crab Pokemon in general. But if you know Klotzer doesn't count, it has to be Crabominable, because Crabominable, you know, it's a Pokemon that's not that good, and like in Sun and Moon's like story mode, you're like, wow, this crab guy that I got like in the first route has to evolve at some point, and then you get to the Elite Four and it just doesn't evolve, and then it finally evolves into a Pokemon you just think it's super freaking good, but that ends up being like this piece of garbage that's not even that good, and the fact that they handicapped it to the Elite Four was completely pointless and made no sense. But you know, I still love our crab guy anyway. Still love Crabominable. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what your favorite crab-based Pokemon is. But of course, thank you guys so much for watching till the end of the video. I'll check you guys next time. Bye!